Welcome everybody to HIT, High Intensity Tactics for Growth. My name's Chris Ciccinelli, and I want to tell you thank you so much again for tuning in to another episode of HIT. It has been fantastic. We've had so much outpouring of emails, DMs, just people reviewing the podcast, and I truly, truly appreciate everybody getting in there and really diving into their constant education, the constant staying a student and wanting to put good things in. So today we're going to have more of a personal discussion today, because like I told you on this, I think so much of our life, our personal life and our business life, have this, constant collision course with each other, right? Like you're constantly always balancing am I spending enough time at home, not spending enough time at home? What's my kind of work-life balance look like? Again, a lot of things that, people keep asking, as they talk, they're like, Chris, you talk a lot about business. Yes, I do. But today I'm going to get a little bit personal with you. And I'm going to get a little personal because for some people that might know me, for most that don't know me that listen, I want to talk to you about this weekend. This weekend was an unbelievable outpouring of love. It was amazing because think about a hangar at an airport with 400 people that are there to support a foundation that my wife and I created in January of 2018. And to see the outpouring of love that is for a community of the LGBTQ youth, about how to go out there and making our school systems, our education, making sure we have programs and advocacy around this youth, it is so hugely needed. And it was amazing to be part of something, that had that much change. This year we had our first gala, and it was called Every Journey Matters. And the reason we made it that Every Journey Matters is we know that we're not trying to make the world safe for 50% of the people or 60% of the people. We're not trying to make, the education for 50% or 60%. We're trying to make it for 100%. Every person's got a story. Every person's got a different chapter that they're writing for their book. Everybody's on different paths all the time. It doesn't necessarily mean that, anybody's path is better than somebody else. Hopefully we're all going to get to the same destination. Hopefully we all are going to get to the same area of having love and having the people around us that care about us. And that's where this weekend really kind of came for me. People ask, why did we start the foundation? And I'll tell you why we started the foundation. But first, for anybody that's sitting there and going, okay, what is Living with Change, right? Living with Change, our mission is to basically go out and educate, support, and be an advocate for the LGBT youth. Living with Change is dedicated to providing education, resources, and financial assistance to families, friends, teachers, communities, while fostering confidence and acceptance through their change. And that's exactly what we did back a couple years ago. Is we went through a change in our family. Now, it's always confusing when I have to give this story because you're going to have to talk a little bit in the past. There's going to be a little bit of the present, in there. And then there's somewhere in between where the change and kind of took place. And I want to walk you through this and just to kind of put the characters in place, right? You guys all know Jessica. She's my wife. And of course, myself. But there's also the main character of this, which is, Elsie Ciccinelli. All right. Elsie is a beautiful, beautiful young lady. And probably the strongest and most amazing person I think I've ever come across in my life, that when you're in a room with her, you can't feel nothing but your heart feeling full. And to tell you a little bit about that, Elsie, was born, not Elsie, the beautiful girl that I have today, but Elsie was born as Luke. And that's probably the last time I'll use that that we call the dead name in this story is, Elsie was born a boy, and people keep asking, how she went through the change and how she, I think so many people determine anatomy with, a gender, and gender is kind of who you go to bed as, right? Sexuality is who you go to bed with. And a lot of people get those things so confused all of the time, and just because books have said, oh, females have a vagina and men have a penis, and you don't even assign a body part to a gender. And I think that's some of the things that people get so confused or wrapped up in, and so this thing for us as a family started several years ago. And it started where Elsie kept saying, Daddy, I'm a girl, I'm a girl, I'm a girl. And we kept saying, no, honey, you were born a boy. You're a boy. You have all the parts for a boy. You're a boy. You're a boy. You're a boy. And it kind of kept going back and forth for this for years, until one time I came home from traveling. I see Jess. Jess is so recluse. She's like, she's so upset. She's so distraught. And I said, what's going on? She goes, well, let me tell you something, Elsie. He's not having any conversation with anybody. There's nothing going on. Like being all upset with her brothers and sister, and it's not good. And I finally walked in. I said, Elsie, what is going on? Elsie said, Dad, we're supposed to be going to dinner with Mimi, and I got no clothes to wear. None. Zero. I said, Elsie, you have a whole closet full of clothes. No, Dad, I don't have any girls' clothes. Zero. None. I finally had lost it. I had been pushed to the nth degree on this whole girl thing. So finally, I said, fine, get your stuff. We're going to go and we're going to pick out the girl clothes. And when we pick out the girl clothes, you will wear those out in public. I told Jessica I was leaving to go to Macy's and I was taking Elsie with me. Jessica goes, what are you doing? I said, I don't know. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just saw a show that was called Scared Straight, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to scare Elsie straight, because this is ridiculous. I don't know what's going on. And here I am. I walk Elsie into the mall, go up, and I said, I need clothes. I need clothes for this, for him. I mean, her. I don't know. I just need to, where's the girl's clothes at? And the lady, pointed me in the direction. All of a sudden, I said, you go pick out the clothes. I'm not doing this with you. Elsie goes, picks out the clothes. Picks out this blue skirt, white top. It's like one of those things you'll never forget in your entire time. She goes into the dressing room, comes out with that blue skirt and that white top, and she starts twirling around and going, Dad, don't I look pretty? Don't I look beautiful? And that was the moment that my life stopped. That was the moment that I went, oh my God, what did I do? Oh my God, is this truly what our life is going to be like? I came to dinner that night with my mom. I came to dinner with my wife. And I remember Elsie got right out of the car to dinner and just walked right up to the table, so confident, so secure of herself, so angelic. And to kind of backstory, this is a kid that would never go up and remotely say hi to anybody, or be able to look somebody in the eye or shake somebody's hand or hold a conversation. So all of a sudden, it was almost like this costume had been placed onto this child where I'm invincible. I can be whoever I want to be. I'm going to be this person. And I think now, looking back at it, this person was repressed and, wasn't really living their full truth until that day of that blue skirt and that white top, and finally was able to live as the person that they were born as, but we didn't have a handbook. We didn't have any way of knowing where we were going, how we were going to operate this, but we did know one thing: the birth of something new took place that day, the birth of Elsie. So people always ask, how did you deal with it? Well, we supported our child. We started reading things online, 49% commit suicide. We started reading things that, were really saying, hey, look, no matter what all the research says, no matter what people tell you out there, the one thing that does not change is the change that cannot change is love. And the one thing that we wanted to do is we wanted to love our child and support our child. Was, being right, because of our beliefs or what we thought. No, we just knew that the right thing to do for us was to love our child. And that's exactly what we did. And we went through this journey. As soon as we came back from Naples, we got in contact with a friend of mine, which is the CEO of Children's Hospital, and I said, "Hey, I know this is going to sound kind of crazy, but do you have anybody that deals with kids that are like, we're not quite sure, but maybe I've heard about this whole transgender thing. I'm not sure, but that we might be going down that route." And he said, "Oh, absolutely. We have an actual clinic here that deals with LGBT youth." And I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, I can get you in." He goes, "Chris, it's a 6-month waiting period." I go, 6 months to get into a clinic? He goes, "Yes." But he goes, I'll get you in, and I'll make this happen." And, I remember the day that I had to go to the clinic. I sat in the car. I'm like, I can't go in there. I mean, like, my kid's not transgender. I mean, maybe we're just, this is, a whole thing that we're going through, and it's more of just kind of like a psychiatric thing. Maybe it's I had no idea. But I remember finally going in there because I couldn't leave Jessica to handle this by herself. And Jessica's always been so good with this and making sure that Elsie felt loved and felt, validated and felt, going on the right path. And what made me go in that day is I tell people all of the time, don't listen to the naysayers. I tell people all the time, don't feed into the people that say you can't be who you are and all this other stuff. And here I am telling my child that they can't be who they want to be, and they can't be who they are born, who they were born as. And for me, that was the moment that I got out of the car, walked upstairs, and it was hard. It was one of the hardest things that you ever do. We went through 6 months of evaluations, psychiatric meetings, all kinds of different stuff, and finally, Elsie basically said, "Look, I'm a girl," and that to us was a little bit of mourning, a lot of self, anger, because I was like, did I travel too much? Did I not throw, enough football, or did I not play basketball? All the different things that go through your head as a parent. And for some of you listening, it was, you're probably going, how are you mourning your child? It was because you think your child's, born, as your son. And then next thing all of the ideas and all the things that you thought you were going to do and the discussions you were going to have, it changes. And it changed so quickly. But it changed so quickly for the best, though. Right after you go in through our mourning period or the anger or the whatever, there was this new thing that blossomed, this new love, this new person that taught us so much about life and taught us so much about, the strength of a character, and that you could have, you could go through criticism, you could go through what other people think. And so we finally decided, Jessica and I did, that we looked at moving to New York, we looked at moving to Chicago, we looked at moving to all these different places to make sure we could find proper care for Elsie, because we were nervous. We lived in Cincinnati, Ohio. And knowing that Children's had that clinic there, they had 300 people that were in this clinic, meaning 300 patients. By the time that we actually had launched the foundation, they had upwards of 1,300 people that were in that clinic. And Jessica and I looked at each other and said, you know what? What Children's Hospital did for us, what they were able to help us and help our child with, was probably the most important thing that's ever happened in our life. And we can't leave this city because we think the care is going to be better somewhere else. Because once we leave, what we're basically saying is our kid matters and everybody else doesn't. And we made the decision that we said, you know what? Nope. We're going to help the 1,300 patients, the 1,300 kids that are in this program. And so in 2018, Jessica and I, formed this Living with Change Foundation. And we formed the foundation so we can make sure that we have a center of excellence for our LGBT youth here in Cincinnati, that we make this an area that has the best doctors, the best social workers, the best psychologists, because this is something that's not just changing for, the child, but how does the brothers and sisters handle it? How did the aunts and uncles handle it? How did the friends handle it? How does mom and dad handle it? And it's tough. I mean, it's tough because, there are people that will have their religious beliefs that, hey, I can't accept it. And, look, I grew up Catholic. My wife grew up Catholic. But at the end of the day, it's, so your beliefs are more important than love for your child. I couldn't I had to choose, and I chose my child. And there's parents that can't choose their child over their faith, and I understand that, and that's why we decided we need this foundation here, and to help people go through this transition, not just the transition of what people think it means to transition, but the transition of what you think your child is going to be like, and how do you interact, and how do you make sure you make it safe for them, and how do you let others around them know how to interact with them. And that was a really big change for us, because in January, we made a decision that we were going to donate $2 million to Living with Change. And Jessica and I, to kick off our foundation, made that commitment to Children's Hospital to make sure that we do have a center of excellence. And that center of excellence would be there for these children, not today, not just for tomorrow, not just for next month or next year, but forever. And that's exactly why we decided to do this. And the gala this weekend just cemented the amount of love, the amount of time that people took out, and the sponsorships, and the people that want to really make this world a better place, not just for one person, but how they make it better for everybody. We also committed to another $1 million to have a total of $3 million for this foundation. And now, when we talk about the foundation giving to the Children's Hospital Clinic for our LGBT youth, our gender and inclusion that's going to take place there will be fantastic. And that's why when we think about kind of the mission of going out there and educating, not just being there for the education for the families and the children, but how do we also take this, and we've trained so many schools. We've trained, Cincinnati public school systems. We've trained Kentucky school systems. We've trained, even, Catholic, school systems that have asked us to come in and talk to them. There's more and more people that are asking questions. I mean, we're training the Cincinnati, prosecutor's office. We're training, doing stuff for Cincinnati Fire Department. All kinds of different people that are asking us to come in, companies, and saying, please educate us on what it means to have and understand what it is to be transgender, and how we can support our employees and make it safe for them. And that's exactly what we're doing. And it is truly amazing when you're able to see the change and the acceptance, and finally to be able to have these hard conversations, the uncomfortable conversations, to make things comfortable for everybody and make this place, this world, a little bit more compassion towards people, and to show people that they love. People ask, so what is it that, you when you do this and you talk about Living with Change, and you talk about that, how can I help? And I always say, look, have the conversations with your children, have the conversations with your friends. Don't think that you're not immune to this, that this is something that could happen to your family if it's, LGBT, Q youth. So many people are like, well, gosh, I just don't understand. Well, I would tell people, try to understand, open your mind to understanding, open your heart to understanding, open your, that there are different people that are out there. Not everybody is the same, and you don't know what normal is anymore. There is no normal. So I think if people can go out there and have this conversation, and they can, be accepting of other people's views or people's opinions, man, we can change this place, and we can make this place, not filled of competitive and hate and anger, but more into acceptance and love and humor, and be able to see each other grow. I just wanted to share that with you, because this weekend showed me that there's more work to be done. There's more people, sometimes when you feel alone growing a foundation, or you feel alone fighting a cause, you find that you're not as alone as you think. Sometimes you got to make that battle cry for everybody to get together. And that's what this weekend was. So for everybody that supported Living with Change, everybody that supported Every Journey Matters, I appreciate that. From my family to yours, we're sending nothing but love. Thanks so much for tuning in to HIT. This is Chris Ciccinelli. Don't forget to rate it and review it. Have a great day.